Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and the sounder is for Tuesday. Hey, CQ, CQ, CQ. That means we want to talk to somebody out there, and that somebody hopefully is you, and hopefully you'll find it helpful, useful, practical, maybe even profitable when we talk about the things that might be helpful today. And we're going to take a little lighter touch, but a very important lesson can be learned, I think, even in the somewhat, you might say, satire humor of the day. Okay? Let's see if we can do that. Yesterday we talked about the fact that you're going to have to learn how to do the marketing life, because every last one of you is in business. You are a business, and you need to make sure that you have a public presence, and you know how to be on a platform, and you know how to perform on that platform, because you need to attract an audience. Those are all four basic rules of making it in the marketplace today. So we are going to try and help you do that from time to time. Interesting ideas, and part of those interesting ideas will come from you. So be ready to raise your hand and join in, jump in to the conversation. Hey, today, what I simply want to say is this. Hey, you know what? Maybe we need to learn how to fix things and do hard things and appreciate them. That's right. We need to learn how to fix things, do things, and do hard things and appreciate them. And we've got a fun little story that appeared just the other day in the Babylon Bee to try and make that point. And this is a good lesson for all of us. I'm Stan Hughes at Interesting Ideas, and it begins right now. One of the more depressing signs about the new working generation is there may be, it seems, a lack of ambition or extraordinary want-tos in the new generation. And we have to think about that and wonder about that. But the thing that is even more distressing is how our culture has tried to emphasize the fact that all the schools should be geared to, well, if you're in middle school, you want to do well in high school, and you want to perhaps be a prize athlete, or you want to go to college. And so everything is geared basically that way. And the fact is, hardly anybody will be a prize athlete. And the vast majority of people do not need, and perhaps will not benefit from a college education. Because even those who try it, only 40%, and that's a generous number, complete it. No, you do not need to pay $250,000 for a college education today. Now, if you want to go into one of those maybe lucrative professional assignments, you're going to be a doctor, or perhaps you want to be a lawyer. And again, I wonder why that takes so long. It doesn't seem to be that complicated. But you may have to have, quote, that certificate, that degree, that sheepskin that will perhaps pave your way into one of the professional schools that will lead you, and of course charge you a great deal of money to get there. But why are more people involved in the technical world? Why aren't more people involved in doing some of the things that really need doing? The trades, the skills, the people who actually do hard and heavy work. And if they do it well, they can make a good living and have a good life. Just today, I saw a gentleman who deplored this fact, and of course, a man named Mike Rowe, he talks about dirty jobs, has a campaign on to encourage people that there is great dignity and worth in doing the hard, oftentimes difficult, somewhat unappreciated hard work of being a good workman, a skilled craftsman, perhaps a good to great technician. The book was called Blue Collar Cash, and it was a call for the fact that perhaps we need to really encourage people, particularly the young people, that that is oftentimes what work is. And the work you do may not be totally symbiotic with the life you want to live, but if you do it well, it can certainly allow you to live in many other ways the life you want to live. My daughter has a good job, and she says, it really isn't the job that I really, really love. But I'm good at it. And it allows me, because I'm good at it and I get a good income, to do many of the other things that maybe I would have liked to have had for a career. But when it comes to those things, the reading and the gardening and the pleasures of life, I now have the time and resources to do them. And so my job is not me. My job is the way that I help make me. She, by the way, has a college degree, and she says it really didn't do me that much benefit in terms of me being me. So I share that with you. And that's a good way of coming up with one of the periodicals that has a very traditional, some might say, a right of center political point of view. But their point is they call the Babylon Bee, and it's satire. And the reason it's controversial oftentimes is people today are not sophisticated or not used to or don't appreciate making a point by satire. And so what I'd like to do today is actually, with their full permission, because they put it out there, and as long as I give them full attribution and credit and tell them how good it is, it might be okay. And if you're seeing this on one of my podcast platforms, I have included a picture that goes along with it from the article that appeared in the Babylon Bee, and is called "The Coal Miner Feels Really Sorry for Congressmen Having to Do All This Hard Work Lately." Obviously a little bit of a punch and a satire about the last week's session, where the House of Representatives just went through the almost public quarrel of deciding who would be their leader. And so there's this picture of this man, his name is Don Billings, and here's what the article says. Welch, West Virginia. Local coal miner Don Billings has expressed deep sympathy for the congressman having to work such long hours lately. Now, of course, the picture of Mr. Billings is he's bent over, he's in a mine shaft on his knees doing repair work with his helmet and his mask, doing hard, tough fixing work. And now it continues. Wow! 4 days in a row of sitting there eating takeout, said Mr. Billings, his voice filled with compassion. Boy, I'm sorry to hear that. News of Congress's brutal working conditions had reached Mr. Billings during a brief respite while a mine shaft was being repaired. They came back to work in the evening after a 4-hour dinner, asked Mr. Billings in awe. Wow, that is some kind of commitment. I sure do hope they get a nice long weekend after all that sitting around and drinking. across the nation, Congress saw an outpouring of support over the remarkable hours they were putting in. 4 straight days of actually being at the place they work, sitting there. What heroes, said local telephone linesman Michael McGee. I even heard they had trouble getting DoorDash to deliver. So a few had to send their aides to run across the street to pick up Chipotle. Oh, I really feel for them. And in conclusion, at publishing time, the coal miners were deeply relieved to hear that Congress had resumed destroying coal miners' lives during their normal business hours. Obviously, the satire should be so obvious that even those who certainly don't like such stuff may get the point, may even get the smile, and may even get the jab, and perhaps the point that needs to be made. I think it's important that we learn how to appreciate the people who do the tough stuff. The people who can't call their work. It's hard for them to put a term vocation on it or calling on it or maybe even a career on it. They may even just simply say, this is my project right now. This is the work I do. And I'm just asking all of us, and that includes me, because, as I say, my job has been primarily, I learn how to market things. I learn how to message things. I learn how to manage things. I do all of that kind of things that a lot of people in my position do. But I don't do an awful lot of making things, repairing things, fixing things. And that's what we need. The master entrepreneur, Jesus of Nazareth, was probably a handyman before he became a bit of a change maker. And so I just simply want to share that with you today. You can obviously look in the archive for Babylon Bee and see the wonderful story of coal miner really feels sorry for congressman having to do all this hard work. Thank you for listening to Interesting Ideas. I'll be back, and perhaps just a little plug of what we're all about. Thank you very much for your time, and we're continuing to try and have interesting people doing interesting ideas that will actually help you, first of all, be appreciative of those who do the hard work, and perhaps learn how to do some of it yourself, and then perhaps understand that no matter what you do, it can be done well, and it can be done in a way that is profitable, practical, useful, and even be a blessing to others. We like to help you do some of the things that go into going public and being able to live life, as we are now launching, as of this week, the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, and it is how we can learn to be entrepreneurs by modeling ourselves after the master entrepreneur. And I would love to tell you more about that, because we're looking for people right now, particularly in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to start this project, which we believe will be helpful, useful, practical, and profitable for you, and it will go worldwide. If you're interested, stanhouston@gmail.com, stanhouston@gmail.com. And of course, remember, if you want to do what I'm doing, we can help you there too. witradio.net, witradio.net. We'll tell the story, and we'll get you on the radio in 23. Best and blessings. Be safe. Be careful. Be grateful for those who do the hard work. Bye for now.